What's cracking, everybody? How you doing? Saludos, buenos dias. We're going to get into something right now. We're going to talk about prison. Yeah, we're going to talk about prison. We're going to talk about the county jail. We're not going to talk about politics. We're not going to talk about any groups or segments, or any individuals' names or anything of the sort. But I'm going to give you an experience that I had in prison. Maybe this will hit home with some youngsters. Okay, so that they know the real when you're hearing about prison. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you what prison it happened at, but I went to the hole for something. I was asked to give them some information. I told the officer, ask me no questions, I'll tell you no lies, because I ain't telling you shit. I went to the hole. It was a melee. It was a melee, so multiple people. I went to the hole by myself. Okay, so I go to the hole. They asked me what happened, and I told them, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. I was in bed, I was asleep. We caught you dead bang. You got your eye busted. I was in my cell asleep. I don't know where that happened. I woke up with it. I don't know. Now they know I'm lying. I know they know I'm lying. But I tell them this because I'm not telling them shit. So I go to the hole. I stay at the hole a little longer than I should for a melee. Because when I went into the front of the board, I was what they call on the top 10 shit list. I was one of 10 people that were getting moved out of that prison if anything cracked off. People couldn't figure out why. I could tell you why. Because I wouldn't tell them nothing. I'm not telling you a fucking thing. I don't care who you are. That's not me. So, I go to the hole. They ask me some questions. Tell me I don't know what you're talking about. I stay in the hole a little bit longer. I think I was supposed to spend 10 days that time. I ended up spending 20 days. Something like that. So I go to the yard. I go to a different yard, right? They move me to a different yard. And I'm going to breakfast in the morning. Now, I got a red jumpsuit. I just got out of the hole. I got a red jumpsuit. I'm walking to breakfast. Hoda throws me up on the wall. Starts fucking with me. Not knowing that they're hitting my cell at the same time. It got to the point that my cell and me landed up boxing because he was pissed off that my house, the cell, was getting hit all the time. He said, you brought too much heat to the pad, whoop-de-whoop. And I'm not arguing with them. I'm not telling them. I'm not nothing like that. Keeping my mouth shut. That's what I'm doing. What I'm supposed to do. So they're hitting my cell sometimes 8, 9 times in a week. Literally. They don't have my property, and I give them my property, so I got to run around in that red jumpsuit. Just all the way screwing with me. Because I wouldn't give them information. Then, a while later, something else happens, and they read me my rights for, they're arresting me for jailhouse robbery. They were saying that I robbed somebody for their TV and their radio, and I scribed my name on the TV and the radio, and they found out that my TV and my radio was stolen. So they were booking me for, and they had somebody saying that I stole it from them. So if it wasn't for my wife calling the warden, and it was even to the point that the warden knew who I was, a lieutenant knew who I was, captains knew who I was, everybody disliked me. Not because I'm out there gangbanging, not because of that, it's because I won't give them any information. So, if it wasn't for my wife keeping receipts the way she does, my wife is that type of person that keeps receipts for everything. She busted out with a receipt from Corcoran when she bought me the TV and the radio. So she sends a copy to the warden, tells the warden, if you don't get off my old man, I'm going to have an attorney over there. We're going to sue the shit out of CDC because you know what you're doing is unlawful. So it's to the point that I can have nothing that is not CDC offered. I have to have state soap, state shampoo, state toothpaste, state clothes, everything state. So I sent all my shit home through somebody else. So for a while I had absolutely nothing that was not state. If I had store, I would have to send my money to somebody else so they could go to store for me and keep it in their cell so I can get a soup and stuff when I want it. That's how bad it was. And the reason I'm telling you guys this is so that you understand that people are not necessarily being truthful when it comes to jail sometimes. I'm giving you the real, legit shit that's happened to me. I've never been involved in anything that was romanticized, where all the homies had love, and it's a dog-eat-dog world. Be honest. We're all cool. All homies are cool. But you fuck up, ain't nobody giving a fuck about you. They'll whack your ass just as fast as they will anybody else. You fucked up, you're gone. You're gone. That's how it works. There is no love lost when you go. So me being locked up the way I was never never in a favorable position. There was one time I was a clerk because I was able to type, an intake clerk at a level 2. And I'm going to explain the level 2 thing right now. Okay, so I was a level 2. I was able to move things around. That was my hustle. Now, the one thing about this counselor that I work for is we had come to an agreement. You don't ask me nothing and I won't lie to you. So no matter whatever happened, he would never ask me anything because he knew I wasn't going to tell him nothing. And we had that understanding. He was like this old cowboy kind of counselor. He was a redneck like a motherfucker. He didn't like me, and I didn't like him. But he had respect. He told me he had respect for me because I held onto my what I believed in, my priorities, my ethics. He says, I think you're stupid as fuck. He goes, because I'll tell you right now, the majority of those guys out there in the yard will tell me what I want to know. I don't need you. I go, good, don't ask. But I could type 60 words a minute. So it was beneficial for him. So I got my little hustle on. I made my little money on the side he don't know about. I'm sure he knew I was doing something. But that was the level 2. And I want to explain something. If you have any kind of violence in the system, you are allowed at 2 level 2s, at least when I was busted. And this is all the way to 2000, right? You were allowed to 2 level 2s. One was Norcal, and the other one was Chucky's house. Those were the only 2 level 2s you can go to in all of California. Was Chucky house and Norcal if you had any kind of violence on your jacket. Especially within the system. You were never to go to no NCCF, and you were never allowed to go to a level 1. If you had, the only reason you can go to level 2 is if you had no points or minus points or Because if you had close to just level 2 points, they were going to keep you on a 3. So if you had any kind of violence, you are not going and getting all the little special privileges from prisons that don't house. See, before you go into any prison, they gotta ask that prison if they're willing to accept you, and those prisons have rules. Yeah, we don't take anybody with violence. We don't take anybody with this kind of violence. So I was allowed to go to Norco when I lost all my points because I was minus 16 points when I left. So Norco, the last 11 months before I left, I went to Norco, which is level 2, which made it easier for my wife to come and get me. I hated it. Dorm living sucks. Don't ever go to dorm living if you can. Don't go to prison, period. But I could have went to Chucky's house, which is towards Calapatria and Centinela area, right? Those are the only 2 level 2s you can go to with any kind of violence. So I've heard people talk about level 1s and level 2s and fire camps. You will never hit a fire camp with violence. Just not going to happen. If you got a gun charge in a robbery, you're not going to hit a fire camp. There was a program in Corcoran I was at that you were actually allowed to go on the streets to clean up on the streets and stuff. They would take you out every day close to the prison area, and you would go clean things out on the streets in the system, outside the system, outside the joint. I would never be allowed to do something like that. Now I'm not bragging about anything. Trust me, that's not bragging. It's just this is the honest. I'm being brutally honest when it comes to what's happening in the system and what I'm hearing. Okay, this is something I'm hearing, and I just don't see it. LA County jail. If you got any kind of violence, you're not going to be a trustee. Uh, some individuals have that little bit of pull to get into that system, that area, into a trustee dorm, but it's not even a trustee dorm. It's like they'll pull you out of your cell area so that you can do the trustee work on that tira, but that's it. So it's not like and back in the day when I was there, you used to roam. You used to cut your wristband, snatch somebody else's wristband, and go to this dorm, that dorm, that dorm until they caught you. Till count time came, they shut everything down looking for you until they find you in the wrong dorm. Get your ass back where you're at. That's it. Uh, I've never had a relationship with the staff, a cop, a CO, that would anybody can question anything about. Oh, well, like, no, I'm not. That's one thing is you as somebody that's individual, you stay away from those situations where somebody can say, "Hey, you talking to the Hura too much." Stay away from that shit. That's just And I'm trying to give you guys the honest to God truth, the brutal truth, because I know a lot of people say things and people are believing things, and you have to understand something, man. Some of these individuals out here think if they tell you or romanticize their stories, that for some reason, somehow it's going to help you. And it's not. I think the best way to help our youth, our gente, is to tell them the honest God truth. You're not your own man in there. There's times when you put in situations, you got no choice but to do certain things. But you're going to pay for those things too. It's never just easy. Oh, well, he doesn't want to tell? No. That doesn't work like that. So that was just my little experience I wanted to share with you guys. I think it was about time that somebody said it. I said it. Have a blessed one, you guys. Bye bye.